This news out of Australia is horrible because on Saturday there was a bloody rampage at the Bondi Junction shopping mall in Sydney, with this 40-year-old man running around with a large knife stabbing 18 people, killing at least 6 of them. With people seeing video of him chasing horrified shoppers taken from an upper level, shopkeepers giving shelter to bystanders, locking their doors, some people trying to block off the attacker, others coming to the aid of victims, risking their own lives in the process, with that including this lifeguard who described the scene to 9 News.
And this lady, there was just so much blood. I've never seen that much blood, and she had blood everywhere. And me and 2 other members of the public and a few police, we were just looking for wounds, and we were just sort of trying to stem the bleeding as we could. And as I looked up, I looked down, and there was just multiple victims sort of like 50 meters apart.
And included among those injured was a 38-year-old mom who was stabbed while trying to shield her 9-month-old baby from the attacker. But despite her best efforts, he still wounded the infant girl, with reports describing how the mom, who was bleeding out, desperately clambered into a nearby store and handed her baby off to a group of bystanders. And then, as another witness recalled to Sky News, almost everyone who was nearby heard what happened next.
We heard the gunshots. I'm not sure if it was 4 or 5, but we heard gunshots, and that's when everyone just ran. And everyone looked terrified, and people were locking themselves in the stores.
Those gunshots coming from the barrel of a female police officer's firearm, because reportedly this killer lunged at her and she shot him dead, bringing this carnage to an end. Though sadly, the suffering didn't stop, because more heartbreaking news broke from the hospital where the mother and her baby were rushed.
Her baby went into surgery and her mum didn't make it.
However, fortunately, the baby's condition has reportedly improved. Now, as far as the killer, we're still finding out details about him. But reportedly, he was known to Queensland police, though not for anything significant. It's also been reported that he's been struggling with mental illness since he was 17. His father telling reporters that he had recently come off his medication. And initially, that's the explanation police gave for what caused him to do this, with the assistant police commissioner on Sunday shooting down rumors from the far right that the killer was an Islamic terrorist.
As I had said last night, there is still, to this point, nothing that we have, no information we have received, no evidence we have recovered, no intelligence that we have gathered that would suggest that this was driven by any particular motivation, ideology, or otherwise.
But then you also had another police commissioner later telling ABC News that it was obvious the killer targeted women in particular, because reportedly 5 of the 6 people that he killed were women, and the one man being a security guard who tried to stop the killer. And then of the 12 people who were wounded, only 2 were men. And of those 12, as of filming, 4 of them reportedly have been released so far, while 8 continue to receive care in conditions ranging from serious to stable. And you know, that gendered motive, that was also backed up by the killer's father, who told reporters,
because he wanted a girlfriend, and he's got no social skills, and he was frustrated out of his brain.
With the father also apologizing to all the victims and then getting extremely emotional about the whole thing.
I'm extremely sorry. I'm heartbroken for you. Look, this is so horrendous that I can't even explain it. I love my son. I made myself a servant to my son when I found out he had a mental illness. I became his servant. I did everything because I love that boy. I love my son. I'd give my life for him. I love him dearly. And, you know, how do you love a monster? Give birth to him. Okay, he's my son, and I'm loving a monster. To you, he's a monster. To me, he was a very sick boy. Believe me, he was a very sick boy.
So now police are investigating this massacre and building a profile of the killer. But then before the city could even recover from that shock, there was another brutal stabbing just 2 days later, with someone walking up to a bishop right in the middle of a sermon being live streamed online from this church and viciously stabbing him in the neck and head. With immediately several churchgoers rushing to his defense, they were also stabbed themselves, though luckily their injuries were reportedly non-life-threatening. Also notably with this, right after the police got the incident under control, hundreds of people gathered outside the church demanding that the attacker be brought outside, with them seen clashing with the cops, leading to at least a couple more injuries, with people throwing stones, bricks, and bottles, damaging cars, and police deploying tear gas in response. And there, we're now getting reports that a suspect has been arrested, and it turns out to be a 15-year-old boy. But of course, all of this is moving in real time. Everything is still developing, and if anything comes from the investigations or anything here, of course, we'll talk about it.